Story 1. The Delivery That Wasn't. It was a quiet Thursday night. I'd just finished watching a movie and was about to head to bed when I heard a knock at the door. I wasn't expecting anyone. No deliveries, no guests. It was nearly midnight. I paused the movie and sat still, listening for another sound. The knock came again, this time louder, more urgent. My heart skipped a beat. I lived alone in a quiet cul-de-sac. No one came by this late. I tiptoed to the door, peeking through the peephole. A man in a dark hoodie stood holding a paper bag. His head was lowered. "Delivery," he called, voice muffled. But I hadn't ordered anything. I didn't even have any food delivery apps installed on my phone. I opened the door slightly, chain still on. "I didn't order anything," I said. The man didn't look up. "Isn't this 2837 Willow?" he asked. "Yes," I replied cautiously. "But I didn't place an order." He stayed quiet for a second. Then he leaned forward. "Well, someone did. Paid in advance." That struck me as odd. Prepaid delivery at midnight. I asked to see the receipt, but he didn't move. "You just want it or not," he snapped. His tone made my stomach twist. I said no again, shutting the door slowly. As it clicked shut, I heard a thump against the wood. I looked through the peephole again. He was standing even closer now, staring straight at it, like he knew I was watching. I backed away and grabbed my phone. Before I could unlock it, another knock came, louder this time. Not the polite kind. Like he was pounding. I turned off the lights and moved silently. My instincts were screaming. I decided to wait it out. Maybe he'd leave. 5 minutes passed. Then 10. No more knocks. I checked the peephole again. He was gone. The porch was empty. Still, I didn't feel safe. I checked all the locks again, double-bolted the windows. Just as I sat back down, a soft knock echoed from the back door. I froze. My back door. No one ever used that. I crept to the kitchen, heart pounding so loud I could barely hear my own thoughts. Through the blinds, I saw a shadow move across the yard. Then, another knock. This time slower. More deliberate. Like he was toying with me. I didn't have a weapon, just a heavy flashlight. I clutched it tight, trying not to breathe too loud as I dialed 911. The dispatcher picked up. I whispered everything, even describing the man. She told me to stay calm. Officers were already on the way. Another bang this time. The back door shook violently. I dropped to the floor, crawling behind the counter. The operator stayed on the line. Suddenly, silence again. No footsteps, no knocking. I waited in the dark, heart racing, until I saw flashing red and blue lights outside. I sprinted to the front door and waved through the window. 2 officers stood outside. I let them in, explaining everything in a rush. They searched the property but found nothing. No man, no delivery bag. Just faint footprints leading from the porch to the side fence. They asked if I had cameras. I didn't, but my neighbor did. He was already awake and gave the police his front cam footage. What we saw chilled me. The man stood at my door for over 7 minutes, just staring. Then he pulled something from his pocket. It looked like a small crowbar. He hid it under the bag as he leaned toward the door. That's when I shut it. The footage showed him circling the house twice. He even looked right at the neighbor's camera, smiled, then vanished into the darkness. The cops told me this wasn't the first incident like this in the area. There'd been similar cases, late-night fake deliveries, attempted break-ins. They said he might have been trying to force his way in if I opened the door fully. I was lucky I didn't. For weeks, I couldn't sleep properly. I installed cameras, new locks, even motion lights, but every knock made my skin crawl. 3 weeks later, police caught someone matching his description to towns over, trying the same trick. He had burglary tools in his trunk. When they showed me his mugshot, I knew. It was him. But here's the part that still haunts me. He had no phone, no delivery app. He wasn't a driver. He wasn't anyone's neighbor. He had multiple fake uniforms and bags in his car. He'd done this before. I still wonder. What if I had opened the door just 1 inch wider? That night, I learned. Never answer the door after dark. Story 2. The Knock That Followed Her. It was a Saturday night. 17-year-old Emma had just gotten home from a late shift at the gas station. Her parents were away for the weekend. She made herself a quick dinner and sat down to scroll through TikTok. Outside, the wind howled and the trees swayed under the moonlight. Just as she was about to turn off the lights and head to bed, she remembered something, or rather, someone that had been bothering her all night. Around 9 p.m., a strange man had come into the station. No gas, no items, he just stared at her from behind a snack aisle. He never said a word. Didn't blink. When she asked if he needed anything, he smiled faintly, then walked out without buying a thing. She told herself he was probably harmless, maybe just weird. But deep down, something about his eyes felt off, like they weren't just watching, they were studying. Now home alone, she locked all the doors and shut the curtains. The neighborhood was quiet. Too quiet. She finally turned off her phone and went to bed. At 2:17 a.m., she woke up to a loud knock at the front door. It was quick, like someone was trying not to wake the neighbors. Her room overlooked the driveway. She peeked through the blinds and froze. A man stood at the doorstep, hands at his side, just staring at the door. She couldn't see his face clearly in the dark, but her gut screamed. It was him. The guy from the gas station. He knocked against low and spaced out, like he was waiting for her to choose to answer. He never rang the bell. Emma tiptoed to the hallway and grabbed her dad's baseball bat. She backed into her room and quietly called 911. The dispatcher calmly told her to stay inside, keep the doors locked, and that officers were on their way. Emma could barely whisper. She checked the front window again. He was gone. No footsteps, no sound. The porch light flickered once, then steadied, empty. Just as she sighed in relief, she heard tapping, new tapping. This time at her bedroom window on the second floor. She screamed and dropped the phone. There was no way someone could reach that window without a ladder. But when she looked, nothing was there. The police arrived 10 minutes later. They searched the yard, the garage, even the tree line behind the house. No one. No prints. One officer reviewed her doorbell footage. It clearly showed the man standing motionless for over 5 minutes. But then he walked out of frame sideways. The strange thing, he didn't walk off the porch. He walked along the wall, disappearing into a dark corner, never reappearing on the cameras. The officers stayed until sunrise. They left a patrol unit parked down the street. Emma tried to sleep but couldn't. The next day, Emma's neighbor came over with something disturbing footage from her backyard security cam. It showed the man climbing the fence at 3 a.m. He wasn't looking at the house, he was looking straight into the camera, smiling. His hand was raised, as if waving at whoever watched later. Emma left the house and stayed with her aunt. Police increased patrols, but she didn't feel safe. A week passed, no signs of him. Then, one morning, her friend sent a chilling video from TikTok. A user posted POV. I followed this gas station girl home. Same hoodie, same man. The video was filmed from a distant SEMA, walking to her car after work. He'd been recording her for weeks. Different angles, different nights. She reported it immediately. The account was traced to a burner phone with a stolen number. Untraceable. The profile was deleted the next day. Emma changed jobs. Moved in with a cousin 2 towns away. But the fear never left. Every knock made her freeze. 3 months later, her cousin got a package addressed to Emma, no return label. Inside was a single photograph. Her sleeping taken from outside a window. Police were called again. But there were no fingerprints, no DNA, no leads. The package had been dropped at a post office an hour away. Emma installed alarms, floodlights, and sensors. But she never felt truly safe again. She dropped out of school and started online classes. Every few weeks someone would ring the doorbell at 2 or 3 a.m., when check no one there. Always just out of sight of the cameras. Eventually, Emma moved across the country under a new name. She hasn't told anyone her location, not even her closest friends. To this day, she still jumps when the doorbell rings, because once you've been hunted by someone who doesn't want to be found, you never forget. Story 3. The Masked Visitor. It was just past midnight when Daniel and his girlfriend, Kate, heard the first knock. They were on the couch, watching old horror movies and eating popcorn. Their apartment was on the second floor of a small suburban complex. No one ever visited unannounced, especially not this late. Daniel looked through the peephole, took a step back. A man stood outside wearing a plain white mask and a black hoodie. The man didn't move, didn't speak. Just stood there, hands at his sides, as if waiting for something. Or someone. Kate asked who it was, but Daniel said nothing. He backed away from the door slowly and whispered, "It's just some guy in a mask." Another knock came louder, more deliberate. Still, the man didn't speak. He never rang the doorbell. just kept standing there, unmoving. Daniel shouted, "Wrong place, dude," but got no response. The figure tilted his head slightly, then turned and walked down the hall. Kate watched through the window as he exited the building and stood under a streetlight. Still not moving, just watching. They stayed awake all night. Around 4 a.m., he finally left. They chalked it up to a drunk prank or a weird neighbor. But the next night, at the exact same time, the knock came again. Same man, same mask, same silence. This time, they called the building security. The guard came up, but the man was gone. Cameras didn't catch anything useful. His face was always covered. They filed a report, but police said unless he tried to enter or threatened them, there wasn't much they could do. For the next 5 nights, it became a routine. Midnight, knock. Masked man. No words, just presence. Then disappearance. Kate started having nightmares. She couldn't sleep. Every shadow in the hallway looked like him. Daniel tried to act tough, but he was scared too. They bought pepper spray, a baseball bat, and even a taser. But nothing changed. The knocks kept coming. One night, they didn't answer the knock. No movement at the door. But the next morning, they found something horrifying taped to their peephole. It was a photo taken from inside their apartment. Of the two of them asleep on the couch. The timestamp read 2:07 a.m. Daniel tore it down and immediately called the police. Officers searched the entire building. Every vent, every storage room. No sign of a break. Kate started staying at her parents' house. Daniel didn't want to seem paranoid, so he stayed behind alone. But on his first night alone, the knock returned. This time it came from the bedroom window. The second-floor window. Daniel froze. The blinds were closed, but something brushed across them, like fingers dragging across the surface. Then came another tap. He grabbed his phone and dialed 911 with shaking hands. When he peeked out, no one was there, but he noticed something strange. There were 2 small holes drilled into the window frame, like someone had mounted a camera, or tools. But from outside, police arrived and inspected everything. Again, no evidence. No fingerprints. Nothing on the footage. But Daniel knew someone had been up there. He checked online forums. One person replied, asking, "White mask. No talking. Always knocks 3 times." His blood ran cold. Others had seen him too. The user claimed the masked man only came to those who opened their door after midnight even once. After that, he always returned. Daniel never opened the door, but he had looked, every night. Right at him. That was enough, the user said. One night, Daniel set up his phone to record through the peephole. The knock came again 12:03 a.m. sharp. He stayed silent, hiding in the bathroom. In the footage, the man stands completely still for 5 minutes. Then slowly, he turns to the peephole and raises his hand. He places a single finger over the peephole and whispers something. The mic barely caught it. "I see you." Daniel moved out that week. He left the state, got a new phone number, new job, and didn't tell anyone where he went. He never saw the masked man again. But sometimes, just after midnight, he swears he hears 3 soft knocks. Even when he's alone in a hotel. Kate broke up with him months later. Said he wasn't the same. Couldn't sleep, couldn't relax. Always staring at doors. Waiting for someone who wasn't there. Daniel never answers his door at night. Not ever again. Because when you've seen him once, you never really stop looking over your shoulder.